to NOLA Motorsports. This is an amazing world-class facility track. They have an Indy track, so IRL, huge road course that's FIA certified, I believe. They have the most amazing kart track, which I absolutely love, which is so fun to drift with tons of corners that are linkable. You can link almost the entire track together with absolutely amazing tire wear, with really friendly staff. It's just so beautiful. We're so lucky to be here. We have beautiful weather today. We have beautiful drivers like Rudy Martinez and Ben Lee, and we're gonna talk about their car and their adventures so far on Drift Week 2. So we've already gone from Tucson, well, actually, I should say we've gone from Texas to Tucson, Arizona to the start point, which they've made it in the car. Driven the whole way with a little trailer behind them, carrying all their own gear. From Tucson back to Houston, Texas, because that just happens to be the trip path. And then over to New Orleans today. So they've already probably covered, how many miles, guys?
Over 2,500 probably?
Over 2,500. Siam, don't point it at them, point it at me. All right, they're gonna be in here in a second, they get their time. So this was a team that I developed as a spirit idea. I always try all kinds of wacky stuff, and there's cars in the background, don't worry about it. But this is a spirit idea. So we have one car with 4 drivers that are all Lone Star Drift drivers. I split their entry fee up. Oh, I shouldn't tell the people, but that's okay, y'all can know. And I wanted all 4 drivers to share the car and experience Drift Week together in one car, which means it was gonna be really difficult because like dude 3 would break the car and then the other dudes would be mad at him kind of thing. And then dude 2 would break the car and everybody would be mad with him. And everybody would have to come together and fix the car and keep it going. And I wanted to see how that would work as team entrance, because I was kind of thinking about how to change things all the time, whether it be Texas Street Legal, Lone Star Drift, Pro-Am, Ebisu trips, like Drift Week. I'm always trying to change things rapidly. So I was thinking about doing team entries, which might be really fun in the future, because this is a very fun trip, and that would drastically increase the amount of fun doing teams and also lower the overall expense per person. So anyways, this is them. They completely failed at that right out of the gate because only 2 of them showed up because the other guys, I don't know, they'll explain in a second. And the car itself is super interesting because the car is a VR30 G35, which is a ridiculous car to build. It was originally just a DE, and they're like, that's too easy because these dudes both build and tune cars and do all kinds of stuff. So let's get them over here. Come on, guys.
All right.
What I'm gonna ask them, they're just gonna talk. And sometimes I have to lead people, so some people just talk like, Wout was just an amazing speaker, and Rudy's a terrible speaker.
I am a very terrible speaker.
So I'm gonna try and help. I wanna say thank you to all the sponsors. First one, Y-Plate Imports. Huge thanks to Y-Plate Imports. Go check out their website. They sell imported JZX 90s, 100s, all types of cars on their website. You can check out their inventory. They also do custom work. Trenton is an amazing mechanic over there. His JZX 90 has been a beast on this trip. Makes probably the most power out of all the cars except maybe the supercharged Vet. Super reliable, great looking car, awesome. I can't say enough cool things about him. And you plug
BC Racing. I absolutely adore BC Racing. Before Drift Week started, I fitted the trailer and I bottomed everything out. I called them up, 2-day ship. They got it to me, and we talked actually about the spring rates. Like, okay, how heavy is the trailer, and what are you going to be towing? And
oh my God, you got the trailer spring rates in there?
Yeah, we got trailer spring rates to where it wasn't too heavy, and without them, without helping us, without chatting with me, I probably would have went with a 10. They gave me a 12. It seemed to be a perfect fit, and without them, like, we wouldn't be
This
here.
is what people are doing, is they're speccing out spring rates for trailers on Drift Week. It's so stupid. The Miata did it too. Thank you to ECU Master. ECU Master is a company that does standalone ECUs. Check out their website. They have tons of extra parts to go with that. They do digital dashes, they do boost controllers, they do all types of stuff, and they do power management units, they do everything. Everything you need. The dude that owns it is super cool. He's out here on Drift Week with us today in his JZX 100 and his 350Z. It's Zach. He's amazing. We love ECU Master. Thank you so much. They support so many of the Lone Star Drift drivers and also a bunch of awesome guys like Adam LZ, and they do stuff in Formula D. And also last, he wants to thank
Injuku Racing, because definitely without them and their support, I wouldn't be here. And it's not like I don't buy the parts. I still buy the parts. They don't give me anything for free, but without them and their majority or vast majority of parts that they keep in-house, we wouldn't be able to get everything as far along as we have. Really special thank you to EVER Racing. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for me, because I text them like when it's 9 o'clock at night, and then I text them like I'm just a bad friend. Yeah.
All right, perfect, thank you. So first of all, tell us about the concept of building the car. Why did you do a VR30? Is it just because the whole drift thing in a DE is too easy, too lame because it has no power? What? And then start talking about just leading into the adventure. And think about your answers. Think about how you want to tell this adventure, because this is an adventure.
Yes.
Go, both you guys.
Okay, so Drift Week, we had a DE. There was going to be 4 of us, and we are all smart in our own ways. We all drive Z's and G's, and I wanted to stick out for Drift Week specifically because not only is it a way to get your name out there, it's good for business to, you know, keep going, keep developing things, and you know, I just wanted to be different, and no one's going to care if we show up in a DE.
Yeah, like we might have the most reliable car here by doing that, but it's pretty special. It's like it's one of the first ones in the world, I think.
I mean, it's not reliable?
It depends. We haven't gotten to the point where like we're testing the actual reliability of the engine itself. I think right now we're on the cusp. Like, we've almost gotten everything.
Yeah, we did 3 complete laps today without overheating or going into limp mode. It's been about 5 days now, like since we've gone into limp mode. The tuning is very special and unique because you know, there's only automatic transmission bolted onto the back of this, so that took a great deal of effort, and he could probably tell you a little bit about the tuning stuff.
Yeah, so I had contacted UpRev, because I'm a pro tuner for UpRev, but Ecutech ended up helping us a lot more, so they were super awesome, and they gave us a little Bluetooth kit to let us interface with the ECM, so you can actually read like live CAN data, and we ended up going to Walmart and getting a nice little tablet to put all our gauges on it. But I will say tuning this VR30 is like nothing like any other VR30. So, and Martin at RS LTP can probably attest to that too. Like he's kind of been updated as we've done it just because we're friends, but it's very interesting.
All right, I'm gonna jump in and help these guys.
Yeah, sure.
All right, first of all, I'm a little bit easier on camera probably.
Yeah.
This car is promoting Texas Tires and Parts, which is your business, correct?
Yeah.
So that's very specific. He didn't mention his business. You need to mention your business and plug
Okay.
stuff. He has a business out of Houston, Texas. I bought all the Kendas you see on Drift Week from him. He does tire sales. He builds drift cars. He does all kinds of stuff. He competed in Formula D Pro 2. So this is Rudy Martinez. He specializes in drift stuff out of Houston. And you, is this your company?
Yeah, VPF or Venture Performance and Fabrication. So I'm the primary tuner for it, and it's fab work tuning.
And out of where?
San Antonio.
And what do you do specifically?
Right now my main focus is tuning, but I can fabricate. Like we built some intakes for it, like on the fly.
Talk to the camera, not me. They're watching. Yeah, we'll show it in a second.
Okay.
So the point of this, I think, is a DE is too easy for you guys, and you just wanted to make it difficult and do something unique and show off. And when I say show off, how many wires did you have to like pin for this?
There's about 200 wires pinned to this, going back and forth, integrating it with the body harness.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have like a whole bunch of switches and stuff, so like it was very important to have everything function as, you know, a regular G35 with the DE in it. Mostly everything works.
So all the CAN bus works, all the gauges work, everything works?
No.
No?
No.
That's why we have the tablet.
That's
The
why
AC works?
No, we ran out of time. We built this in 1 month.
Okay. So what doesn't work? Let's start there. Talk to the camera.
What doesn't work is the RPMs and the coolant gauge, but the miles per hour works and the fuel gauge works, and that's kind of the most important things, I think.
Okay. But you have everything off a tablet from the stock.
Yeah,
from the,
we have way more data than a regular cluster could give us, so it doesn't even matter anyways.
And this is, what's the transmission?
The transmission is out of a 370Z. It's called a JK41.
Okay. And how did you adapt it onto the VR30?
It bolts right on. So I took my DE bolts out of it and transferred them over, and they were like the correct length.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
so this car, the Q50s, which that engine's out of, could have a manual transmission on it.
Yep.
So why didn't you get a Q50 and make your life easier and just put a manual transmission in it and have everything work?
Because I already own this. This thing's been like so great.
But then you have 2 drift cars.
I do have 2 drift cars.
Then you have 3 drift cars.
I already have 3 drift cars.
Then you'd have 4 drift cars.
No, then I'd be like you and they'd all break.
Yeah, okay. So another thing I was gonna say that I don't think maybe they said clearly is this trip isn't just about them getting a ton of seat time, which is what it is for most of the drivers. This trip is more about developing something, which is the VR chat like swap, and showing off your shop skills and everything, and doing a development process. So each stop on the trip, they're reflashing it. How many times have y'all reflashed the ECU?
69.
Really?
Yeah. I swear.
Oh, okay. So they've had to upload 69 tunes to the ECU. They bricked an ECU. They like, wrote to it so many times. They're developing the whole thing as they go. And you said it was overheating, right?
Yeah. So on the way, we've been working through some issues. We stop places and fabricate. Like when we came back from San Antonio, we did like a little air guide, and then we made the intakes. We moved them from inside the engine bay to outside of the front grille. We dropped 45 degrees of ambient air. So everything is just like working, you know, and trying to figure it out. Today we actually put the hood vents on, and now we got the most laps with the longest period of drifting, the whole duration. We're actually able to keep on going, and still we haven't overheated yet. But yesterday, I mean, we're developing this car so quick. Yesterday we were overheating in like 2 runs, and like everything was spiking. So today is just like a major hurdle. Every day is just a different hurdle, and it seems like we're sorting it out, and it's like really good and really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, like when it's working, it's pretty good. I mean, I don't want to like jinx it, but today's probably like the best day so far. Like the 3 laps that we did do is like full tilt the whole time. So, and we never saw anything really get over 250, which is really hot, but it was like right at the tail end of the lap. It's like, okay, it's time to cool it down anyways. So
the factory DE motor makes what, 230 wheel?
He'll
240.
230, 240 wheel, 240
High
wheel.
230s tuned, like mid 240s. I'm sorry, other way around. Untuned, like high 230s. After tuning, like mid.
And what does this motor do you think make? This is a Q50 motor, which is a twin turbo 3-liter V6.
Yeah, so we haven't dynoed yet, so we have no idea what the
guess?
actual number. All right, well there's
400 wheel, 450 torque.
I'm thinking 400 and 400-ish.
Okay.
So we turned up the boost from, I think stockish was like 14 on the red sports, and we turned it up to about 18, and you can really feel it like in the mid range. It's pretty peppy.
Yeah. So that's literally like 75% more power or something like that.
It's very sad.
That is a huge
because it
difference.
feels so much faster than my 1J car.
Yeah.
Really?
I was like, oh, I got this dog box, I got this 1J car with the GTX 3076, E85, and like...
Oh man, I just realized your 2JZ car is just another JZ. This could almost be faster than that with just factory everything.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, you'd have to maybe do more stuff, but like for this is just being a bolt-in swap. So is this that easy? Could a normal human do this? If this is like, I've done maybe 1 SR swap in my life, barely got it in.
No. But that's why we're here is, if you look at the prices of 2Js, SRs, 1Js, like
Crazy.
Yeah, you can't get a 2J for like $7 grand now. And I looked, if you get a Get Treg on the back, they wanted 18 the other day on eBay because I was talking to it, like me and Hurt, we were chatting about 2J stuff, and we were just going through 1J stuff. I'm like, can you imagine paying $5 grand for a 1J?
Like a stock unopened one.
Yeah, like a stock, and they're like even older now than they were before.
I was buying whole JZX 100s for like $2,500.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that came with 1Js.
So right now is like the pinnacle of like, there is nothing else to swap with at a reasonable price besides an LS.
V8s.
LS is
V8.
How's your V8?
Oh, it's great. It's here. It's ready to go.
It's
drove
ready?
it yesterday.
I didn't see you drive yesterday.
I drove yesterday just to check to make sure it works because I wanted to make sure I could drive here. Yeah?
Well,
you have a V8? How does it work?
Oh, his V8 works great.
Yeah, mine's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But it's not as exciting. I mean, this is
more exciting than
it's
your
such a
V8
new motor. I mean, the motor's only been out for like 4 years, I think. So like, there's like the aftermarket support is very minimal. So like doing everything, like we pioneered almost everything from scratch. It's like
We're literally sending emails back and forth to Ecutech, and they're across the pond, and like we have to wait like almost
Till
the
they
whole
wake up.
day. Yeah, like there's 7-hour difference.
Yeah, they're about, I think it's 7 hours ahead. So like there was that one night in Arizona where I got up at like I think 5, so I could actually talk to them for like 3 hours straight. And after like iteration after iteration, it finally just like it came live and it seemed really happy. And I was like, oh my God, is this it? But
And not only do they know that we're out here, they're like, they have to make the software as quickly as possible
Yeah, they were
because
bringing all the flights.
they don't even know the challenges. They're like, we came to a point at the beginning is like, you guys are pioneering this and we don't know. So let us know.
I love it. It's such a weird trip because to go back to the trip itself, you've already done at least 2,500 miles. You've driven across the southwest of the United States. We're almost on the East Coast. Has the car been comfortable for the, like, you don't have any air conditioning, so you just roll down the windows and just cruise, everything's
The
good?
weather has been actually really great.
Yeah.
We don't even have the windows rolled down. There's so much airflow in there. It's pretty good. There will be AC. There's definitely room. Only I have to make one AC hose, but within a month time, like the whole thing got kitted, painted, whole motor, everything was done in just 1 month.
That's insane, especially on a new motor.
Yeah. And then like things like electric steering, like I didn't even know it had electric steering because I just kind of jumped into it. I was like, oh, I bought the motor. It came in 4 days. And then I looked and one of my friends was like, hey, what are you gonna do about power steering? And I'm like, oh man, I really messed up there. And I didn't even like try electric steering pump, so you don't even know which one's gonna be a good one. So all my friends told me to get the Volvo one. I went that way. I've heard of the MR2 ones working, but I haven't actually tried
Why not
one.
just the Q50 one? Because it's CAN bus or something?
Yeah, it would have probably been too complicated one, something. And which was cool, because I only had to make one line, so the high pressure line is the only one that I made. The rest kind of worked out.
Yeah?
Yeah, like
That's
the
lucky.
return, yeah, so.
Well, it's infinity to infinity stuff for a
No,
lot.
'cause I put-
No, but I mean like
yeah.
that stuff was already in the car, so all you're mating is just that Volvo pump.
Yeah, which was one high pressure line. That was it.
Cool.
Yeah, the return line worked great.
So we'll show off the car and we'll have you all point to it. Is there anything you want to say? Because again, you're not out there doing a million laps. Y'all go do 3 laps, you pull data, you let the car like look at temps, you know, you're developing it, you're re-flashing it every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
What's your thought process for all this? Are you just gonna like, how many laps do you want to do? What makes you happy? You're like, are y'all gonna be happy just getting the car developed at the end? Do you want this to be a real drift car where you just bang around in it? Like your normal car, you do a million laps in that thing.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention to it. It's just like a hammer. This is not a hammer of a car. Like this is
like
something else.
monitor things.
Yeah.
You have to really keep an eye on it. But I mean, if it gets to that point where it's like, you know, it's a little less, whatever, like it requires less input on your end, like you don't have to monitor as many things, like I feel like that would be ultimately the goal. I mean, it's his car, so he can say.
Yeah,
but,
like this is still my daily driver and will continue to be my daily driver. I mean, just think about the first day. We barely could get a lap. And now this was where we ultimately wanted to make it, NOLA. It's kind of the halfway point. And it's easier for me since I have a lot of friends here if something happened. So tonight's the night we're gonna jam. Like we didn't want to like, we just did our first tandem in it yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we're scared of messing someone else. You know, you got to take not only the precautions.
If it goes
of-
in a limp mode, you could crash.
yeah. Thankfully, we did not see limp mode yesterday at all. So, you know, you got to take the precautions of having to drive. So, you know, ease into it. But now that we're here and all that, my friends are here with trucks and trailers that are like doing the fun public days. Like now I know I can release and, you know, have fun. And Arizona is just so much further. And Texas
A lot of stress too, because
Yeah.
like if you break, you're on your own for a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're
It's every man for its own.
Yeah.
So in speed sports, I mean, yes, it's absolutely fun, but this is my favorite place to be.
You know, I love this place.
This is like, out of all the tracks that I've been to and all the tracks that we're going, this is the holy grail of drifting. I love this place.
No,
This
I
is
love
like-
this place too. The tire wear is so good. This is such a good, fun facility. I
Yeah.
love it. So before we go over to your car, what's the biggest challenge on this trip?
The biggest challenge,
Just like conceptually too. Like, is it just traveling so much distance on the road? Is it the drifting?
The traveling has been very fair to us. We've probably been the first ones to get to every stop because we just kind of drive and switch. You know, other people don't have that luxury to switch. I think the scariest part is thinking about braking, where we did brick that ECU. I had to drive to Phoenix to get it. He was tuning it because it was the one for the intake variable valve timing. So like the car still ran. So he's here forcing the car to run without the variable valve timing. So you're on your own. You got to think about the challenges. And I ran to Phoenix. Luckily Harrison was there with his truck. You know, that let me, because who knows how much time that could have eaten up if we're doing 40 miles an hour all the way to Phoenix to get an ECU, and we didn't even know like 100% if it was the ECU. I mean, yes, we did our best diagnosis, but
it's also diagnosing something that's like custom wired.
Yeah, like I think if I was to blow a motor, like I don't. Some of these dudes are hardcore. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't be swapping one.
I wouldn't have
been. Dan already swapped one. These guys are crazy.
And then they're like all like 10.
They had to go to another state to swap it.
Yeah, that is just like.
You're not as hardcore as the other guys.
I am not as hardcore.
Okay. Talk real quick before we stop too, about the spirit of it. You immediately had 2 drivers give up before you even started.
Oh, who gave up?
Weak.
Oh, my people. Yeah. Man.
So it's supposed to be 4 people in his car, 4 Lone Star Drift drivers that are all friends.
Yeah.
They suck though, don't they?
They suck. I was hammering in our group chat like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And everyone was kind of quiet once it got closer to Drift Week. I was like, man, I kind of forced Ben into it. Like, he quit his job.
Yeah.
and then like, the other guys were like,
not for this.
Quit our
the
job.
timing just worked out. Yeah.
And they didn't want to use all their PTO for this. And I'm like, I understand it, but like, we kind of already committed to it. And I think the trip, because I find Keegan really smart. Like, if you actually talk to him, he's really high up in Audi, and we could have probably been so much more developed with this chassis. And Brandon Bryant's just mechanically, you know, good at wrenching on stuff. So it would have been useful to have them, but we're still here. And now that I think about it, with our our car and trailer, I don't know how we would have fit everything in it. Because we have been self-sufficient. Like, everyone's borrowing stuff and tools from us, which is a surprise because we brought the bare minimum.
Yeah, and we have tools for everybody, but I think they're just closer in the pits to you and just walk over probably and they're like, oh, Rudy's got it.
Like, Danny didn't even bring a spare front tire. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we left at like the same time, and they were like, they were gonna eat breakfast, and that had cost them like 3 hours.
It's hilarious the lack of preparation some of these guys have, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just like, you guys are like.
Yeah, it's like not only drifting, but like drifting in different events like every other day. It's like spare wheel and tire would have been the move.
Like that's like.
It's like not that big a deal. I mean, you got it sorted.
People are living on edge. Some of the people driving across the country.
Yeah.
And some people are really well prepared.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's that. Let's look at the car. Show us around. Sorry about the audio, by the way, guys. We are at a drift event. So show me the swap. Show me whatever you can about it that you think everybody would like to see.
Okay. So first, we went to Arizona, right? And then on the way back, we were like, I had these laying around, the parts for bigger brakes. We were like, okay, we're carrying a trailer. You can kind of feel the weight because we're on a suicide setup. So the handbrake only operates the rear and the brake pedal only operates the front.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's for cost effectiveness.
With the trailer.
With the trailer.
Oh my God.
But it feels good. And then sometimes you just get a little pull on the e-brake and, you know.
So while you're trailering, if like a truck is stopping in front of you, you're like on the brakes and the handbrake's slowing down?
No, just this guy. He's fidgety.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, the passenger just reaches over and is like, let me help.
He does.
Actually, yeah.
He gets nervous.
We still got a long way to go.
Surprisingly, the trailer's like really well balanced. I thought about it like loading it up, like you can pick it up with one hand. And the big brakes made a total difference, like on everything. Like, it's a cheap, I think there's $200, maybe less, on doing the Brembo setup. They got it so cheap now. I know it's all aftermarket Brembo stuff, like on Amazon or eBay or whatever, but it worked, and it's been working great.
Okay. Do you want to explain how to get that for the people that want it?
Just go to eBay and find it. I think Zach Denny is
it
now
G35 Brembo?
350Z Brembo, and it should come up, and they're just gonna look like that.
Make sure you get the right rotors for it because it's bigger than the stock one.
Okay.
Oh, and they bolted right up. So like, you just take your old caliper bolts. The only thing you gotta change is an M10 by 1.0 brake line fitting.
Okay. Show us. Keep showing us. Why do you have blow-off valves on it?
The blow-off valves were absolutely needed. So,
why?
Because being an automatic transmission, the manual transmission never knows when we're decelling. So when we first put it together and I was driving it around, you could feel the overboost because the turbos are so small. And man, I got hit hard on those. I got hit for $700 on those blow-off valves.
For blow-off valves?
I know, that's a whole DE.
I mean, it is 2 at least.
It is 2 at least.
Why are they so expensive? Because they're nice?
I have no idea. They are HKS.
Sounds cool.
So they were absolutely needed for the swap. And it is twin turbo. The turbo, this is the, well, you would call it intercooler. It's water cooled. And the turbo goes from here straight to here. So there is absolutely no way to get, to really break a coupler or anything, because they are basically met up. Like, I took this off to put the blow-off valves on, and they are like met up really tight. So so this looks ultimately like cluster FE and a mess, but if you think about it, you don't have all the intercooler piping running around the front, you don't have a front mount, so this is actually almost simpler in some ways, even though it looks like a spaghetti nightmare. But that's just how it is from factory. Like, this is nothing up top have I touched besides putting on blow-off valves on it. The fuel line was really simple. We only had to make, I think it was about 32 inches, and it's the same Nissan fitting, so you're just making barb fitting to barb fitting, and it's real simple and avoids everything. Where you kind of get complicated is probably cooling down the turbos. We have 10 gallons of water in the rear. And to explain that, you have a water pump in the rear to pump water through the system to have extra radiator cooling. So there's 2 cooling systems in the car, a high pressure and low pressure, one, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know. So the engine is on its own regular radiator type setup. But for the turbos, they are also a standalone system. And with the heat exchanger up front, which runs probably about 2 gallons of water, it's fine for like daily driving and getting into things. I have one pump operating that, and we don't turn the other pump on until we're actually drifting. But when we're drifting, you don't want to see your water temps for the turbos go above 130, because then you start heat soaking. So we now are at the point where we hit about 109, 110, and it's still chilling, still like pulling.
By that time, other stuff's already too hot.
But now it's working great with the extra, but 10 gallons is a lot. You got like probably about 12 now. So everything's a lot better and everything's getting better. I think, I don't know, anything you want to say about it?
I think it's weird that the factory oil lines are so small.
Oh yeah.
We have this oil cooler in here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like that long and like that tall.
But the intakes were right here before, so I mean, just the small things, like as fast as we built this car, like getting.
He put this little hole here.
Yeah, to put the air in it. It absolutely did not do anything, but it's just crazy because we have the data right on our tablet, and we're just like, oh, okay, we stared at it for so long, we know when the changes work. Even the hood vent things work great today.
And we just put those on.
Oh,
that's funny. You're modifying the car as you go. Even the hood gets modified.
Yeah, like everything that's happened in the last like 2 days. Those hood vents. We made these at my house.
We made this at the shop.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. But like,
I mean, it's not much, but it's like something.
Yeah, like when we're just cruising, like on like highway speeds, like it's insane. You can do a pull and you'll see the water temp come right back down. It's really good. It's working really well.
Working very well. This is the best that it's ever worked at this track. And that's what we kind of planned for, is we're going to develop something and we're going to see if it works. If not, then we'll try our best. And I think this has come a long way, especially looking at some of the people that are trying it. I think we are probably the furthest along.
Yeah, there's a couple other guys out there that have done the swap and they're making like really great power on it, but they're also not like drift cars that are exposed to like, you know, consistent abuse where like the temps can actually start to go up. And if they do a pass at the drag strip, that's like, you know, 1 or 12 seconds or something. So like you don't have enough time to actually get everything hot. And this is just like, you know, 10 minutes on track is insane. So
I just had an interesting thought. There's still a lot of drift cars going around in the background. I'm sorry about that, audience, but it is a drift event. This is actually a great way to develop a car, and I'm wondering if like we'll see more people try that on Drift Week in the future. Because if you think about it, especially with like your Pro 2 car that you were developing and doing stuff, you never get this much back-to-back time putting a car through the paces, making small changes, driving again, making small changes. You're gonna have 2 weeks to develop this car, and also you would always have normal life get in the way. Yep. People would invite you to dinner, a customer would want you to do something. You're trapped on this trip. You have nothing else except to focus on this thing, and then when it does have a problem like a brick DCU, you're like, gotta figure this out. Like, I don't have a choice. So it's like forced working on it, forced taking care of it, which is kind of cool because again, you're trapped. Like, you are this thing's
now
caretaker.
There are a lot of things that make this bolt in. The bolting in part's the easy part. I want to go over that. Is you can use like the 370, 350Z motor mounts. They're all basically the same. It touched right down, right in. The trans mount's the same. The JK41, I mean, I just took my DE bolts out, that worked. The drive shaft's the same. The heater hose is in the back mounted right up. This coolant line, this is just a G35 radiator. This coolant line went right on. This is the only one, but I had to make something because this car uses 3 engine coolant temperature sensors, so I had to find a place to put one, so that was the best place to put it. But as far as getting the motor in the car, absolutely doable. As far as trying to work out all the bugs, we're not even on a regular ROM that you can get. We're doing beta stuff, so this stuff's not even available. Hopefully it does get better and easier to do, and
that's a good question. I wonder if like the ROM we use, we could just put it on like any other ECM and throw the ECM in and see if it would run. That'd be interesting to like experiment with like later after all this, but it's very possible. Like the ROM that we use is not even supposed to, like you said, it's not even supposed to be on the CCM.
So y'all do patch harnesses, like a connector and a connector with wires that swap over and patch it in so that a person didn't have to wire everything?
The problem with this is 2003 to 2004, there's almost 3 variations of the pinouts of a G35 alone. Like the Q50, Q60 was actually the easiest to find like my wiring diagrams and sort out where everything went. It's actually the older stuff that I had a harder time making sense of it, because it'd be like 2003.5, 2004.5. So just in that short amount of time, they revised it 3 times in 2 years.
Didn't get it right the first time.
Yes, yeah, they didn't get it right the first time. And then even his 2005 is different than my late 2004. So the wires change a little bit. So I don't know how I would feel about making a harness, and what if it's wrong, and what if someone's not mechanically inclined, and then
I think you just need someone to like tell them which vehicles it's going in, that way you can confirm. But at that point it's a case-by-case basis, and it'd be pretty hard to build like just the thing that this harness would plug into and then it would interface with the body. Like that would be a challenge. It'd have to be case by case.
Yeah, it's not even on the Q50 side. It's all on like this side, because I was looking at 350Z and we have like the same exact plugs, and it's just slightly different. Like the way they pinned everything was just like,
what a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it is. Because I got a 2004 350Z harness because I didn't want to hack up the DE one, or I mean my G35 one. So I was like, Let me get this 350Z1, and I start looking. I'm like, I'm actually have less wires on these 3 connectors than the other one by like 6. So I'm gonna already have to, and I just ended up chopping the other one anyways. Woo! Yeah, it's been a long process, but I'm ready to jam. I love this thing.